Okay. Hi, Mr. Chen. Before we start to introduce our game, let's introduce ourselves first. My name is ZHOU.
My name is BOYANG.
My name is PORONG.
I'm ZOUXUYI.
My name is Wang.
And my name is Kevin.
Okay, thank you guys. And now let me show our game. Okay, so the name of our game is called the Tower of the Abyss. The main character is a member of the mage who is tasked to conquer the Tower of the Six, and reclaim the core of the tower by reaching the top of the tower and banish the master of the Abyss, Chasmus. The first 5 levels correspond to 5 different elements, which are earth, water, ice, grass, and fire. The last 4 is a mysterious space in the tower. The player needs to defeat all the enemies he encounters and pass through all the layers of the tower. And about how to win this game, the player starts at the first layer, which is the Earth World, and need to defeat the god of each layer. After he defeats the god, he can pass through the portal to the next layer. After the player passes all layers, the player wins this game. And after that, he or she can choose to challenge again or just quit the game. And how the player will lose the game? Once the player health drop to 0, the player will lose. If a player chooses to challenge again, he or she will restart at the first layer, and all the items the player got before will not be succeeded. And now let me introduce the basic mechanism and the main challenge of this game. The player has a health bar and an armor bar. The player's armor will recover naturally after not receiving damage for a period of time. But the health value can only be restored through a medicine or specific NPCs. Player use magic book and all wands to attack enemies. Attacks require mana points. Player can gain mana by some ways like defeating enemies or use medicines. Because the player's health will not be restored automatically, the player should use obstacles to gain time for the armor to recoil after being injured to avoid a drop in health. And there are also some traps in some lanes in the game. Players need to avoid triggering the traps while fighting monsters. Some special tiles may have special effects. Players will be affected when they step on those tiles, but the monsters will not necessarily be affected. Therefore, players need to adapt to fight in different situations. Okay, so now let's enter the first layer of the tower, the world of the earth. So let me enter the playing mode. Okay, so before I start to show my things, let me introduce the map layout first. Each layer of the layer consists of 4 different kinds of lanes, which are start lane, the monster lane, the soul lane, and the boss lane. The number of all kinds of lanes on each floor is between 11 and 14. And like what I said, the tower consists of 5 layers which correspond to different elements. If the area be attacked by an elemental attack, corresponding element will influence the the effect of the earth element is called the corrosion. The player will keep losing mana under corrosion state. And I think you already noticed actually there, you can see there is an O here. So actually the O here is not an enemy but a special NPC you will see in each star lane. The O will tell you the knowledge it knows about the tower. Okay. And let's go to other lanes. You can find a lot of lighting source here. Okay, for example, those lighting source. Actually, to make our system looks better, we added a lighting system. The layer is this layer is relatively dark, but our main character can use magic to light the place nearby here. So you can see that actually is a lighting circle. Now we can see some mice here. The feature of land is the unique one of land is very weak, but you usually will see a lot of mice in one lane. And the player will get a small treasure box after defeat all the enemies of one monster lane. And you can see there are also some balls, the bricks here. Those balls are unbreakable, but the wooden chest, okay, you can see the wooden chest and the iron bottle are breakable. Player may get some money after break them. Let's go to another lane. Okay, so actually I hide some iron steps here. Since the thing is very dark, if the player does not look the environment carefully, he or she might be hard by those steps. There are 2 new kinds of enemy. New kinds of enemy are mummies and wizards. So the mummies use the melee attack and they will keep recovering health. So the player should try to directly defeat them, and the results will show the energy boss to attack the player. Okay, and let's keep moving. Wow, you can see there's a small room. The small room what I said before, a small room here. So you may find a random NPC or a big treasure box in this kind of room. There's an alchemist here. The NPC will give you a medicine with unknown effect. You can choose to use it or not. And let's keep moving to see other rooms. And actually, you may notice that the color of this tile is different with the tile before. So actually, it's a muddy ground. When the player steps on the muddy ground, the player will be slowed down. So you need to be careful when you fight with enemies on such kind of tiles. And here, the last kind of enemy are some weird worms you can see here. And they use melee attack. Those worms move slowly but have a high health and damage. The player of this layer is okay. So let's keep moving. And let's treasure a small treasure box that what I said before will defeat all enemies of one room. You can open a small treasure box. And this room is similar with other rooms actually. Yes, and now you can see there's much bigger rooms here. And actually this is the boss room. The boss of this layer is a stone giant. It will throw stones to the player, and the stone giant has high damage and a wide attack range, but the movement is very slow. So the player can use this point to overcome this boss, and you can also avoid being attacked by hiding behind those blocks. And after the boss, you can enter the last zone. The last zone of this layer, of each layer actually is a portal zone. Player can go to the next layer after defeating the boss. So now let's enter the portal here, and let's welcome my partner in your presentation.
Okay, wait a minute. I will share my screen to you. Okay, can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to introduce the World of Water to you. First, let us see the overall view of this map. As you can see, the water world includes 11 dungeon rooms. There are one start room, one portal room, one boss room, and one NPC room, and 7 little monster rooms. Now I will into the play mode to introduce the special functions and items to you one by one. Okay, please wait a minute. Oh no, we are into the play mode. As you can see, this is the start room. In this room, you will talk to the first NPC, the all. In the conversation, the all will give you some basic information about this world and some special functions of items. After talking to the first NPC, you will into the hallway. But be careful about the traps under your feet, because when you step into these traps, your blood will be decreased by 1 or 2 points. Then go through this hallway into the first monster room. Worried because a few monster rooms, the level of these monsters are very easy. You can simply defeat them by your shooting attack, and not attack you by the bullet or some magic effect, because you can only use the short range attacking. Then we go down into the first special monster room. As you can see, why I said it's special, because it includes 2 layers. The first layer, outer layer, is a simple monster room. The inner layer is a little boss room. When you defeated all these little monsters outside, you can into this special boss room, defeated the little boss, and open the golden chest to get the treasures. Go back to this dungeon room and go forward. this little monster room, I will going to introduce some breakable items to you. As you can see, there are two breakable items in this dungeon. One is a wooden cast and the other is a crockery. All these two things are breakable. Or just attack them, they will be bricked. And it has possibilities to generate some gold coins or some rare items for you. This monster room, as you can see, it have more little walls because the monsters in these dungeon rooms are become more stronger. They can use other methods to attack you, such as water special, magic attacking, or some bullet. So you can hide behind the wall to against their bullet, or so on. If you are attacked by the magic of water, your speed value will be decreased. Also, when you step into the water pool, it has the same effect. So you need to be very careful about this kind of the trap, because when you step in, your speed value will be decreased and your possibilities to be attacking is increased. And we move forward into another little monster room. As you can see, in this monster room, we provide some liquid medicine bottle to recover your blood value or the energy value. Monster room. As you can see, they are all decorated beautifully with some smooth lighting. And then we move forward into the first NPC room, the merchant room. In this room, you can do the business with the merchant. Use your coins to buy the items from him. If you are lack of coins, you can break the wooden chest behind them, around him, and it has possibilities to generate some coins you need. And then you can do the business with him. The merchant will sell you some special items such as a liquid medicine bottle or some armors, some magic sticks, and we down, move forward, go through this hallway, enter the boss room. As you can see, in the center of this magic circle is the boss of this level, a water dragon. It has high damage value and high range attack. Very careful about the bullet attacking you. We provide some little walls in this dungeon room so you can hide behind the wall to avoid his attacking. After you beating this boss, you can enter the hallway and go to the final portal room. And when you go through this gate, you will enter the next level of the world, the ice world. Then welcome my teammate Super Rong to introduce the ice world to you.
And now I'm going to share my screen. My computer was stuck in the share screen page. Maybe wait for half a minute. I cannot join the meeting because the record is started.
Polong, please click join again.
Yeah, now I can join.
Can you show your screen now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm going to.
Can you open your camera, please?
Okay. And now I'll show my map. So first I will introduce the style and elements of my map. My map is ice element, so my room and floor are basically gray and white, and the ground is mostly gray stone or snow. The walls are covered with snow. And in the map of ice element, the player might be frozen due to being attacked or triggering the device. And now I'm gonna start the game. And when we start the game, first we will enter the level is to reach the start room, and there will be an owl in the starting room. He will give players some hints. The corner of the room is decorated with snows, and there is a luminous fountain in the middle which shines blue light. And there will be 2 torches in front of the path to the next room, and there will be torches at the entrance and exit of each room. The edge of the path is decorated with candles, and walk along the path, we can reach the next room. Next, when we enter the first room with monster, because it was the first room with monster, the monsters in it was weak, and there were not many type of monsters, only 2 types. And in order to uniformly design the color, the color of monster in the game map are mainly gray and white. And the fences and walls are unbreakable. And there is a sign here. Player will be frozen when the player step on the sign, so they might be careful when they see it. There are also few traps in the map, like there are ground stab and also iron clamp. And when players stand on the stab, their shield or HP will be deducted. And when all monsters in the house are killed, a treasure chest will appear in the room, and the player can enter next room. Arrive in the second room with monster. There are relatively more types of monster, and they will be stronger. Like there are 3 types, and there are also some traps. And the walls are unbreakable, while the wooden blocks are breakable. And there is also a treasure chest. And then came to the boss room. So when we enter the boss room, first we could see there are also frozen signs, and the boss is directly in the front. Because the boss is more capable, so his size will be larger. And there is some spider web. They are just decoration and will disappear after being stepped on. And at the same time, defeating the boss is more difficult than other monsters. So also there are other small monsters, making the game even more difficult. So therefore, the rewards that appear in the room will be more generous. Then came to the next room. The next room has 3 exits. The directly above connects to the NPC room, and the treasure room is on the right. And the portal room is below. I designed this room look more like a garden, and because it's the last room with monster, there is a pool in the middle surrounding a statue of a magician, and then we go to the NPC room. So we could see there is an alchemist in the NPC room, and he will give player a magic potion, which is random and might increase or decrease the blood and mana. Next is the treasure room. There is a big treasure chest in the treasure room, which may contain energy potion or weapon. There are 2 guards are just decoration, and they will not attack the player. Finally, came to the portal room. The layout of this room used the elements of next level of grass. So the walls and the floor are different. And the door with purple lights in the middle is the entrance to the next room. This is the whole introduction of my map. Next, ZHOU will introduce her map.
Let me share my screen first. Can you guys see my screen and myself? Hello. Hi.
Okay, I can see.
Okay. So let's start. It's my turn to introduce my grass layer. The basic settings are same like my teammate said, but the special mechanisms of this layer is that if the counterpart is being attacked by grass attributes, it will be poisoned and continuously losing blood in a long time with a certain amount of damage. And as you could see, my scene is dark jungle, so it's similar to the first level that a point light is assigned to a player only, with other lightings only map 2. Overall, I designed 7 monster rooms here, and there are 3 levels of monsters are introduced. Firstly are the basic ones shown here, which could only move from left to right or from top to bottom. And secondly are the medium ones, who could move around and cause larger damage. And finally, the most advanced boss. So let's look into the details of my map now. In the first layer, I only set 2 kinds of basic monsters here, and it's quite simple because it's only the first room of my layer. And let's move into the second monster room. Here, 1 kind of basic monster and 1 medium monsters are set here, and the ground step is also introduced here. What's more, I put 4 blocks of muddy ground like this, which could decrease the speed of players, as you could see. Second one, third one, and the last one. So that's all for this room. And then we will enter a treasure room with a box that the player may get some potions and others. And next is the third monster room with 2 kinds of medium monsters are waiting here for players, and a mouse is introduced here, which could slide the player pass off. Hello.
Hello.
Am I still here?
Yes. Please continue.
Oh, okay. So there are two paths of this room could lead to. Let's see the right one first. The first one is basically a mouse room, which has lots of mouse here, and there is only one kind of basic monsters. But player must be very careful. If they are being slide and collect by the monsters, it will lose some blood, and only after all the monsters are died could the player get the treasure box here. And let's move back to the new room. This room is quite simple with nothing new here. I only set one kind of basic monster and one kind of medium monster here. This room is for the player to have a relaxation. And the next one is the last monster room of before the boss room. In this room, all kinds of monsters previous monsters are gathered, and only player with all of them could enter the next room. Next room is the NPC room with a wizard who may give some items and ideas to the player. And then finally, we will enter the boss room. As you could see, there is a big boss here holding the true treasure box in the center of the muddy ground, and a new special moving bricks is introduced here, which are generated by the monsters to protect himself being attacked. So the bullets of players will be stopped by the moving bricks, and generally they are undamageable as well as hurtless. But if player touch it, player will lose a certain damage of blood. Only after players beats all the monsters as well as the boss in this room could he get to this true treasure box and enter the next treasure room, as well as the final port room to enter the next layer. So let's invite my friend Wang Yue to continue.
Okay, next I will introduce my level. The file level. It consists of many file elements. There are a total 14 rooms in my level. One start room, one portal room, one boss room, one treasure room, one NPC room, and 9 monster rooms. Next, I will show you. This is the start room. The player will born in this room when he gets to this level. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. The torch is here.
Why I cannot hear your voice now? It's close to your
Can
mic.
you hear me now?
Yes. Please continue.
Since my level is the 5th level, so the difficulty is increased. These are the files in the map. There are 2 special elements in my level, the file and the magma. You can see them here. These are the files in the map. When the character walks through this tile, the file will disappear and cause 1 damage to the character. And this is the magma. It will cause 1 damage per second to the character if he stays on it. Like if I let my character stays here, he will lose 1 shield or 1 blood per second. Besides, these are the treasure box in there are treasure boxes in each monster room. The The player needs to kill all the monsters in the room to open the boxes. And these are the 3 kinds of monsters in my level. The player can only go out of this room by defeat all the monsters in the room. And let's continue to the next room. It's another monster room. You can see a special item here, the amethyst. It worth 30 coins. After the player gets it, he can use it to buy things in the store. Then we move our prize. Player can gain 1 blood after he talks. These are the treasure boxes. Player can open them. And next we come to the boss room. The big boss in this file level is the Charizard. It will use fireballs to attack the player, and the fireballs can cause persistent damage to the player. For example, when the player was hit by a fireball, he will lose 1 shield or 1 health and have a fire mark on him. The fire mark will exist for 2 seconds. If the player gets hurt by another fireball in these 2 seconds, he will get 1 additional damage. It means 2 shield or health will be decreased. And only go out of this room by defeat the Charizard. After the player defeated, he can get lots of trophy and then move to the portal room. And go to the next level through, which is the library. And for the lighting part of this level, I first set the scene to the dark and add a global light with intensity of 0.5. Then I add some torches to provide the light. Then I found out the light is still not enough in some place of the map. So I add a global light again and make it as a child of man camera. In this case, the player can see the things around him clearly. And next, let's welcome Kevin to continue.
Okay, let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, no problem.
Okay, right, so I'm going to introduce to you the final level of this game, The Abyss. So the final level's name is The Corrupted Archive. Before going to the level layout, let me tell you about the background context or premise of this layer. So as my friend said before, Tower of 6 Elements is, can you see the webcam? Can you still see my face?
It seems I can see your face, but it doesn't move. I mean, it just looks like a picture instead of a video. Can you close your camera and try to open again?
I think my webcam just... Let me try. How is it now?
Yeah, I think it works now.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, let's continue where we left off, okay? So the background premise of this layer. So as my friend said before, the Tower of 6 Elements consists of 5 elements and 1 mysterious space. So basically, the Corrupted Archive is the final mysterious space of this layer, of this Tower of 6. So in this layer, the core of the tower is being safe kept, and guarded in this level. And then when the Master of the Abyss, Chasmus, infiltrated the tower and corrupted the world, he corrupted the core of the tower and caused the world to plunge into peril. So what the player needs to do is to traverse through this level and then purify the core of the tower in order to win the game. So basically in this layer, we have 5 monster rooms, with one of which is being the mini boss room, and then 1 starting room, 3 NPC or item rooms, 1 final boss room, and then lastly, the final room leading to the core of the tower. Okay, now that is going out of the way, so I'll just go and play this game for you. Okay, wait a second until it's loaded. Right. So first of all, please ignore the gun because we're going to replace it with a staff, magic staff. This gun is just a placeholder. Okay, so we are here in the starting room of the level. So as you can see here, there's an NPC owl here. So this NPC will give the player some hints of the level and some storyline that the player can ask in order for the player to understand the context of this layer. And then also we have a item here to recover from the HP reduction. And then we walk through the first room is the monster room. So as you can see here, the first kind of monster is what we call the Abyss Ghoul, and they are glowing in purple. And there's a reason to that. I've mentioned that this layer is where the corruption takes place. So these Abyss Ghouls are able to use a corruption status ailment. So this status ailment causes the player to lose HP regardless of whether they have the armor being full or not. So for example, if the armor is still full, but if they're colliding with these monsters, our HP, the player's HP will be deducted regardless of whether that armor is still on the player. So players has to avoid touching this thing directly. And this monster actually attacks player in a mid-range projectile attack. So player has to take a note on that and be careful. And then also here we have a very bright circle. This is a Abyss magic circle that is corrupted. So the same effect applies to these circles. So for example, if the player are walking into the circle, the player will be getting the same corruption state. And then also in this level, there are some traps laid down here. So player has to be very careful when they traverse through this level in order to avoid those. As for this treasure chest, the player will be able to open the treasure chest after the player defeated all the monsters present in this room. Okay, so we have 3 branches of path. The upper path is the first treasure room. So the treasure will reward the player with some weapons or a randomized item. And then going here, we have another monster room. So we introduce a different monster here, which is the Abyss Mage. So the Abyss Mage is a long-range attacker. They're more aggressive than the Abyss Ghoul, and then they also have the corruption status effect as well. So be careful when trying to attack these enemies. Also here we have the mana recovery potions, and then in this part of the level itself we have a breakable. So the player can use this box as a cover, albeit for just a temporary measure for covering from enemies' attacks. But player, once this box is being destroyed, they may have a chance to drop some. Okay, so going down first, I'm sorry. So let's get back to that branching roads. And under this level is another item room. So this item room rewards a player with a large mana potion and large HP recovery items. And then in this room is yet another. So nothing special here, with some more coverings for the players. And then let's go up, going to the next room that we have. So welcome to another room. So there's something new and kind of different here. You may notice that some of these monsters are actually kind of big. It's larger than their other counterparts here. So these monsters are something that we call the elite monsters, the elite abyss ghouls. So these monsters are more aggressive and then deal more damage to the player. So player has to be very careful when facing against them. And of course, the abyss ghouls are not the only ones who has the elite version of themselves. This, for example, is the elite abyss mage, which has a more aggressive playstyle and then more punishing damage. Going up here, we have an NPC room, which has the weapon keeper in it. So the weapon keeper will give the player a new weapon, though the player can choose whether to choose to pick it up or not. And then if we go to this room here, we have our first mini boss room. So mini boss room serves kind of a challenge for the player before going to the final boss. So in this mini boss room, you can see that there are a lot of these elite. And then the challenge here is that you have to defeat these elite monsters being in a very small and isolated room. However, to reward that, we've prepared some items here, some healing items there, and then one more treasure item there. Okay, so now that that is getting out the way, we're going to the final boss room. So this final room is the abode of the Master of the Abyss, Chasmus. So the player must defeat Chasmus. And of course, Chasmus, being the tyrant that he is, has also some other minions accompanying him, which are these abyss mages, the elite abyss mages. So there are two of them. So the player has to be able to defeat Chasmus and these two minions in order for the player to go to the final room of this level. The final room is where the core is being located, so the player must purify the core, and then that will be the end game, the end of the game itself. Okay, that is all for the final level of this game.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, guys, and I think that's all of our introduction today. Actually, we spend a lot of time to design our game, and to be honest, I hope you will enjoy our game. And that's all of our presentation today. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.